Coming to Tadasana at the back of your mat, press down evenly through the four corners of your feet, like you're pressing down and connecting with the center of the earth. Then lift that energy up through your inner shins, lift and engage your kneecaps, press your thighs back, lift an imaginary hammock into your body, your pelvic floor muscles, and puff up the mid-back by drawing energy into the solar plexus. Shoulders draw away from the ears as you reach down through your fingers. Lovely long neck, slight tuck of the chin, and lifting through the crown of the head. Now feel that energy flow in your body as you've created space. Now feet hip distance apart and shaking out that tree, rocking from the balls of your feet, like you're releasing excess tension to allow the energy to flow. Tucking your chin, rounding down one vertebra at a time through your spine, release your hips, then press through the balls of the feet and re-stack your vertebrae. Let's repeat that, rolling yourself away from an imaginary wall behind you. And then digging through the balls of the feet to re-stack your spine. Now bring one knee and then the other in towards the chest, slightly rounding the back. So seeing how effortlessly you can lift that leg in towards the chest. Activating your deep core muscles just by that rounding. Push kicks and seeing if you can do the same, make it as effortless as possible. As you press away with the foot leaning back and exhaling the tension. So on each exhale kick, inhale as you come back and exhale kick with the opposite foot. Keep breathing. So only some parts of the body are working and we can release the tension in the rest of the body. Hands on the hips, hip circles. So warming up our hip joints and getting the glutes firing up. Again, relax the top chest, breathing evenly as you limber up your hips. Anytime you feel a little out of breath, feel free to blow the tension out through the mouth, Pilates style. Hands behind the head, controlled. Back bend, very slight. Lift the top chest. Feel the squeeze underneath the shoulder blades. And then back to neutral and rolling back down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Forward folding. Really feel that lovely release of the hip flexors. So sending your sit bones back and up. Walking our hands out into a downward facing dog. And stretching that chest forward. You can rock from the balls of the feet to the heels, really releasing the tension in the legs if that feels good. Breathing. And then rippling forward into a full or half plank, rocking forward and back, warming our abdominal muscles. You'll notice there's a slight rounding when I do that. So coming back to down dog now and repeating, rippling forward and salsa hips this time. I'm demoing from the knees, which you can do, or from your toes. Just keep your muscles engaged, protecting your back. Coming back to our down dog, widening through the back of the thighs. Now with our right leg, drawing a big hip circle and then changing directions. Inhale, thigh to the sky, and then bend that knee. Hip circle now with the knee and changing directions. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, center tiger curl. Breathe freely now. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, cross body tiger curl. Again, when we pause, just allow the breath to flow. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, outer body tiger curl, rounding up through your spine. Step that right foot towards the right thumb and lower the back knee. Have a little rock and roll, hands on the inside of the foot. Find any little tight spots. I open that front knee out to release the tension in my hip joint. You can take hold of that back foot now. So right hand taking hold of left foot. And then stepping the front foot back into a square shape. We're rounding on your next exhalation. Pausing, breathing freely. And then inhale, just the top chest lifts, supporting the head. Breathe freely. Step the front foot forward. And Kali Mudra optional for crescent moon lunge. Keep the belly drawing in, hip points drawing in, like you're trying to round the low back. I know it's not going to happen, but it will keep it engaged. Now lift and engage the back kneecap, back thigh to the sky, warming up before taking your twist. You can lower the back knee if you'd like. Draw your shoulder blades together. Hands or fists to the floor now. You choose. Step back into your plank variation. Option to lift one leg and then the other. And if you're doing that, so continue, keep your pelvis steady. Why? Because it's about pelvic stability. And if the pelvis is moving, not much point doing the exercise. So make it controlled. Lowering your knees. Hands flat on the floor now. Exhale, we unfurl. 1 to 3 chaturangas. Torso moves forward as shoulders move back. Inhale, send your sit bones back. Rounding up. I really love this move, the rounding. And then exhale, our 1 to 3 chaturangas. Keep your elbows in. Inhale, lengthen again, sit bones move back. Exhale, we unfurl. And again, you choose your 1 to 3. Resist the floor. Press your hands down as you lower. Make it harder than it is. Inhale, we lengthen, just one this time. Full or half plank, full or half chaturanga, full or half up dog. Knees on the floor is this lovely option. And then slide back, hands under shoulders, chest to the floor. Inhale, Bhujangasana, Cobra. You'll notice I'm keeping my elbows bent. Can you imagine you're rounding the low back again? I know it's not going to happen. Lower down. Stretch and lengthen your kneecaps and thighs away. Keep your knees in so they don't splay out. Step 1, bow pose without taking hold of the feet. Lift the top chest. And then step 2, you can take hold of the feet quite early in our practice. Be mindful of that. So it should be moderately easy if you're taking hold of the feet, lifting the top chest and optional lifting the knees. Drawing your head back if you can. Do you feel that release around your shoulders? And then lower the head. Now from here, coming into your full or half up dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, belly squeezes, down dog. Use this as a release. So we want to get the squeeze. So we're always lifting energy. We're always facilitating energy flow. Come into your full or half plank now. And shoulder taps. Is that belly engaged? Squeeze your inner thighs together. And back to your downward facing dog. Broadening through the back of the thighs, rippling forward. One elbow lowers, lower the other, press up through the first hand, then the second hand. Lower one elbow, then the other, then press up through the second hand, and then the first hand. Just watch what I'm doing. It's kind of it's easy to watch and copy, but just make sure you're lowering with the opposite arm and lifting with the opposite arm each second time, if that makes sense. Keep going. You're doing really well. Keep squeezing around the shoulder blades. Energy flow, remember? Even if it's hard work, it doesn't mean we're damaging the body. The opposite, right? So finding your forearm plank now. I'm always doing an ugly plank, as in it's slight rounding. Come back to your down dog. Press your thighs back, lengthen your back, so stretch your sternum forward. And then left leg, hip circle. I love this move. Hip circle in the opposite direction. Extend thigh to the sky, bend the knee, knee circle. And then change direction. Remember, never just shapes or exercises. Explore how it feels. Thigh to the sky. Exhale, rounding. Breathe freely. Center tiger curl. Inhale, thigh to the sky. You can lower your knees here if you want. Exhale, cross body tiger curl. Pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, outer body tiger curl. Step that foot towards the left thumb, lower the back knee, opening the left hip. Have a little wiggle. Find the little pockets of tension. Now that changes over time. Usually at the beginning, it's for people's hips, actually. And then maybe you take hold of the back foot. Press your hips forward a little bit and then come out of it. Try and come in and out of the tension. Find your square shape, step that front foot back, hands behind the head, round, and breathe again. Inhale, support the head and neck, just the top chest lift, controlled, upper body back bend. Step the front foot forward, maybe Kali Mudra for our crescent moon lunge. Can be a bit of movement like I'm doing here. I love moving in this to release the back thigh, cajole the stretch. Hands to the floor, lift and engage the back thigh if that's a possibility. Rocking forward and back, warming up before your twist, knee to the floor or not. Imagine there's a string lengthening out through the crown of the head. Fist to the floor, your option of regular plank, knees to the floor plank, or fist plank with our leg lifts. Now, do you get a squeeze in the glute? So this is from Pilates. We want that glute to be squeezing when we lift the leg. That's why we're not lifting it high and bowing the back here. Hands wider than your mat. And 1 to 3 push-ups. So wide push-ups. These are easier, right? For some reason. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, unfurl. 1 to 3. So maybe you come all the way down to those elbows if your upper back is in line with the shoulder blades. Working on form. You can lift your knees if you want, but work on that form. And that would be, what I'm including from Pilates, really. Now, full or half plank, chaturanga, and up dog. Back to neutral, lift one leg, pause, breathe, and then lift the other. Get the glute squeeze. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Apart from, I know everyone's obsessed with glutes nowadays, from what I can see on Instagram, but glutes are really important for actual strength as well, for doing lots of physical things in yoga. So lower your knees, send your glutes back to your heels, and then come back up. Just watch what I'm doing again. You'll notice that I'm not bringing my buttocks back directly over my knees. I'm keeping it back a little bit, and that's what's going to make your thighs burn in a really nice way. Now we need that strength for our camel pose. That's why I'm doing it, for one reason. Now lean back and hold. And then come back up. But for lots of things in yoga, we need thigh strength, quadricep strength. Lean back and hold. Keep your spine lovely and long. Now the option of just imagining tapping the heel, taking hold of one heel and then the other. I have a short video on how to do this, so you might watch that if you have trouble. We're taking hold of both and finding your camel, stretching and releasing the front line of the body. Big belly squeeze. Now you might love back bends like me, or you might not. But just make sure it's nice and controlled, whatever you're doing. Why? Because that's the only way that the back would strengthen, if the muscles are engaged. Coming all the way up, you can really strengthen your thighs there anyway with the other option. Coming into our malasana now. So we're releasing around the hips and we're releasing around the glutes and the low back now as well. I'm stepping to the side. Do what serves you in your space for skandasana. Flexing the right foot. And then over to the other side. Move as slowly as you need to. You can actually do this with a chair. You can come moderately low, but not all the way down. And that's how I started this. Flexing, so moving from side to side. And maybe you don't use your hands now. Maybe you just press up using that foot. And I would slow that down first. Don't panic if you can't do it. There is really opening the knee out. Now this will train you to do this, keeping the feet flat on the floor. Use your elbow to open the knee out evenly over the toes. And it's really good training for coming into skandasana. But it's also a martial arts move. I really like this one for stretching. Have a little pulse on one side if you need to. Then wide-legged twist. Can you feel the squeeze? This is another beautiful twist. So good for our spine. You might take hold of the left ankle now with the right hand for a deeper twist. Lengthen out through the crown of the head. And other side before you go anywhere. So hand in the center of the legs as you twist, and then the deeper option. But can you think of still lengthening your body? I can see I could bring my head back a little bit more. I'm doing it now a little bit. But Tadasana is really good training for lengthening the spine, knowing what that feels like. Coming back into our wide-legged forward fold. You can bend your knees, lift those sit bones up. But it also trains us to feel what it is like when we're lifting the energy up, when there's spaciousness, even if we're doing a back bend. That it's not just one part of the spine. Step back, full or half chaturanga, full or half up dog, breathing, enjoying. Back to neutral, lift one leg, keep breathing. And then lift the other, little pause, tuck your toes, belly squeezes, down dog, and find space again. Use it like a remedy. Lower your elbows to the floor and dolphin pose with the pulses. Now, this is prep, not for today, but for, you'll see I'm lifting off the foot, for what it feels like to come into a forearm balance at the wall. It feels like it's swinging the buttocks behind, actually. Then press through the hands and take a revolved downward facing dog, either taking hold of your ankle or hand into the center of the mat, and then swap sides. Just get the squeeze in the body. Now, hands near the knees or further back. Navel draws in, press through the hands and lift the sit bones up, or think of doing that. So at the beginning, usually you might not go anywhere. Your buttocks might not lift at all, but you'll still notice you're engaging the belly and really strengthening through the arms. If this is easy, straighten your legs, lift the sit bones all the way up, drop the crown of the head down. And just being mindful of your toes. You know, your toes are important too. Puppy pose. Your variation, maybe chin to the floor, maybe crown, maybe forehead. I love the chin to the floor option. Just feels like such a release for me. Come out. Tuck your toes, down dog. Widen, broaden through the back of the thighs as you press the thighs back. Is there an arch in your foot? Walking our hands back to our feet now, bending the knees and unfurling. I'm taking my time to do this. I've come back into a forward fold and then coming up slowly. So finding the little spots that need your care. And now coming into a Mabu and lifting one leg and then the other, or a yogic squat. The difference, as you keep going with this, is the toes might be turned out a little bit more if your knees hurt, and that's fine. But squat as deeply as you can, and then find the squeeze at the side of the glute as you lift one leg at a time, flexing the foot. So we're strengthening for martial arts kicks or strengthening in general. So getting a squeeze into the side of the glute. And I like to think that I'm actually lifting my hip up. We're pausing and pulsing. Then I'm trying to lift my hip. It's not just the squeeze in the glute. I'm trying to lift my hip up towards the ceiling, even in little pulse moments. It lifts higher and then lowers. Nice little burn there, isn't it? Now shake the tree, shake out the tension from your knees or from wherever there might be tension. Right foot in front for me, and I'm circling the leg back like an open door kick. So sweeping the leg up and behind, like you're clearing something out of the way. Remember to breathe. To think of drawing that circle in your hip socket. To think of lifting the leg using your deep core muscles. So exercises at the beginning might help. And then swap sides with that. So that big circle with your hip. Find a point that you might lift your leg over that can help. But what really helps me is thinking of slightly rounding my low back. Now, that's not happening. It's just it engages specific muscles that are deeper, deep core muscles. They're deeper in the body. And it's easier to lift the leg then. So shaking out the tree. Again, and that's why the more superficial muscles, the hip flexors sometimes get tight. They're being overused. Now, controlled back bend, either step one, hands are on the buttocks, you lift the top chest up, Or step 2, you walk your hands further down your thighs. Almost like you're rounding the low back. Again, quite obvious here that that's not happening, but it's the control. We're not overly using the low back. A little hip circle. Releasing the tension and then changing directions with that hip circle. Just a quick little release. That's what's good about yoga. We're trying to balance out the building of the tension. Now we're rolling down through the spine again. We're releasing. I'm bending my knees here. You can do what feels good for you. Maybe you have your hands behind your thighs or your heels. Your thighs press back. Your sit bones lift up, even if your legs are bent. Thinking of it as energy flow actually works really well on a physical level as well. It really helps you distinguish between cheating basically and, getting the truth of the pose, as we call it in yoga. So what we're supposed to be doing physically. So walking out into a down dog, stretching your sternum forward, then rippling forward into your plank and then side plank. Now you can pulse the top leg up or the option of lowering the bottom knee and again, pulsing the top leg up. They're both really challenging, guys. So pick the option where you're working with the truth of the pose. You're protecting your shoulders back to your center plank and then over to the other side, option knee to the floor. Or, your feet are stacked and you pulse, get the squeeze into the side of the glute and there's a squeeze around your shoulder blades. Your shoulder blades are protected and those muscles are strengthening. Back to your down dog. Polar bear push-ups. Get the squeeze around your shoulder blades. Lower your head as close to the floor as possible. Get that really nice squeeze in the tissue. Very much part of the healing process of yoga, the squeeze. Now, right leg draws a big hip circle and then we change direction with that. Thigh to the sky, bend the top knee, knee circle. And then knee circle in the opposite direction. Thigh to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, rounding, center tiger curl. We're pausing, so that means we're just breathing. And then inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, cross body tiger curl. Feel free to hold the breath if your breath is that long. Otherwise, inhale, thigh to the sky. And exhale, outer body tiger curl, and you'd simply breathe. Press the right foot to the floor beside the thumb. Kali mudra with the hands. High lunge. Lift the top chest. And bring a little back bend like a crescent moon, high lunge. Your back knee lifted. Hip points in. Hands on the hips here. Lean forward as you bend. And then back to neutral. Lean forward, getting into the glute. And back to neutral. As you continue, press through the heel as you lean forward. And through the ball of the foot as you come back to the center. So you're firing up that glute. Straighten the leg, step the back foot in. Virabhadrasana 1. Have a little play around with bending and straightening. Kali mudra. And release the excess tension. Draw your shoulders away from the ears. So feel the squeeze underneath your shoulder blades. And then Virabhadrasana 2, warm up. So bending and straightening. That front leg. Pressing through the outer corner of the back leg, archer's pose with the hands. Looking out over the middle finger. Now it's Tadasana body, so energy into the solar plexus. Drop your tailbone down. Reverse your warrior. Sweep your hand down your back thigh. And then side angle variation. Draw your front hip back to your back heel. Reverse your warrior again. Lovely side stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Side angle variation. Breathe freely. Hand can come to the floor or a block. Option to deepen that side angle. With your eyes, look up at the top hand. Iyengar variation, a Trikonasana. Option, hand to the floor or block or somewhere. And then step the back foot in. Notice how I'm doing this unfurl to a shorter Trikonasana. You can bring your hand in front, belly engaged, and press down through that front foot. Your body is in Tadasana, so no back bend. Hands to the floor. On the inside of the foot, find your half split. Ooh, not to the inside, one on the outside. Half split. Lengthen. I love half split. Great pose. And then find your pigeon. So really nice half pigeon. Release for the glute here. Can you use the breath to allow the tension to be carried away? On each exhalation, letting go. Hands back, step your foot back. Option to keep the leg lifted, full or half plank, chaturanga, up dog. Lift one leg and then the other. Tuck the toes, belly squeezes, down dog. Press your thighs back. Have a little wiggle. Have a lot of breathing. And then lower the knees. Hands back beside your knees or between your knees and buttocks. Press up. Handstand press practice. So eventually, keep going. The legs will just float up to the sky. And this abdominal engagement, the rounding, is a must. It's how that happens. It's also really good for your abdominal muscles and, using your whole body. I like exercises like that. Now release your wrists. You can tuck your toes as well. Stepping one foot out to the side, left foot, hand behind the opposite buttocks. So finding your rolling panda or your thread the needle. And then stepping the right foot out to the side, tuck the left shoulder underneath. And you have an option of bringing that right hand behind the left buttocks if you want, or leave it on the floor. What feels good? Come back to tabletop, then Malasana, rocking forward and back. That's our step one. And then Skandasana. I'm just turning to face the camera. Now I'm sitting on the floor, taking hold of the ankle with the opposite hand and finding the length. Remember Tadasana in this. Length for the torso, then standing up and coming to the other side into Skandasana. And then buttocks to the floor. And as I side bend, think of finding the length. Sure, you can take hold of your toe, but is there length in your torso? Other side, Skandasana. Sit your buttocks on the floor. Keep both sit bones on the floor as you side bend. That's the challenge. Both sit bones on the floor. Lengthen your torso. Lean it back. Skandasana. Other side. Explore this. So think your way through it. Not just about making shapes, right? So does it feel good? Does it feel like there's length? Are you creating spaciousness, harmony in your body? And then lunging from side to side, that martial arts variation, toes turned out, releasing down the side of the legs. Before our wide-legged forward fold. Feel free to bend and straighten the legs or do anything that feels good for you. I'm taking hold of the back of the heels here. And then up to the top of your mat. Lifting one leg, coming into our plank, our chaturanga, our up dog. And then we relift one leg at a time. Back to your down dog. Revolved down dog. And other side. Now, big circle with that left leg and circle in the opposite direction. Knee circle as you bend the top leg or bend the knee and change direction. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, center tiger curl. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Keep going, guys. Exhale, cross body tiger curl. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, outer body tiger curl. Step the left foot towards the left thumb. Kali mudra. High lunge. And lean back a little bit. So think of lifting the top chest and counterbalance by hip points in. Hands on the hips, lean forward and then back to neutral. Keep going, lean forward, back to neutral, and strengthen your glute. To strengthen it, you're going to need to feel the squeeze in your glute, not sensation in your hip joint. Sometimes when we hear that, it's like, oh, that's kind of obvious now. But coming into our warrior two, bending and straightening, we're warming up the muscle here. So warming up our glute and our quad. And then hopefully they'll be on now when we come into our archer pose. You need to feel a squeeze. You can drop the tailbone down. You can make the stance lower. Are you feeling a release down the back leg? Reverse your warrior here. Inhale. Exhale. Side angle variation. Draw your tailbone to the back heel. And then reverse your warrior again. Hand inside the inner thigh, lengthen through your spine. Your hand can go on the floor and find your side angle. Hand on the floor or block or inner thigh. And then Trikonasana. I love Trikonasana. Once you find the length in the pose, stepping the back foot in and unfurling into a shorter Trikonasana. It's just a different variation, works slightly differently. So lengthen your spine, draw your navel in, draw your solar plexus in. Hands to the floor. Lowering the back knee. Finding our half split. Breathing. And then our half pigeon. So come back to the breath, the tide of the breath, coming in and out through every cell in the body and releasing any excess tension on the exhalation. Stepping out of this, lifting that left leg, full or half plank, chaturanga, up dog. Lift one leg and then the other. Belly squeezes back to your down dog. Lowering our knees to the floor now. And finding your child's pose. Great for hip flexion, great for knees and feet and ankles. Just allowing the body to rest. Allowing the breath to flow. And then puppy pose. Any variation that suits your spine. Releasing around the shoulders. And then coming back up. Bringing the right leg in front now, finding our half pigeon. So we kind of did this flow in reverse and releasing the tension. Breathing. Now, tucking the left shoulder underneath, we can bring our hands together or even into prayer pose. So this is actually the first side. We're repeating this half pigeon with a twist option. So from here, bringing that right heel in towards the groin. Your left leg can be bent. And we want to revolve the chest open, lengthen through the spine before side bending. So think of spinal length, even if you're taking hold of that foot. Can you lean your torso back? Can you send your sit bones away? Can you lengthen through the spine? That's what's going to make it feel really good. That's what's going to lift the energy up through the body. And then scooting the legs so that you're more hinging forward over your left leg. As you forward fold, I'm using a block. It's optional. Find your hinging, whatever you're doing at the hips. How do you know? Well, your back will feel nothing. Your back will just feel good. And then coming into Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose or butterfly pose, and releasing around your glutes. So just rocking the legs from side to side. That can feel really good sometimes. And then bringing the legs wide, but not as wide as you can. This is actually a somatic move. We're rolling the back thigh in while keeping the legs straight and rolling the front foot out. So the back thigh rolls in and the front thigh rolls out. I like to focus on my back thigh more. That's where most of the work happens because we don't do that internal or rotation much. But try and keep the legs straight and explore your way through that. It might feel a bit clunky at the beginning. Then feet wider if you want. For your seated, wide-legged forward fold. And explore mindfully. Again, your back should never hurt. What's happening if it's hurting? You're favoring the legs over the spine, and your spine is kind of important, right? Elbows should be on the floor. Have a wiggle if you want. Even though I'm sitting on my butt, I think of sending my sit bones back, like I'm sticking my bum out. And that often works for hinging at the hips. Coming back to seated. Bringing our left heel in towards the groin this time. Name of the game is length, so find your twist first. And then your side bend, sending your sit bones away. And then sure, reach the top hand over the head. It can rest on the head if you want. Take hold of the bottom foot if you want. Sometimes you can take hold of the big toe. But are we cheating? As in, is there the revolve and the length in the torso? That feels so nice for the back when we do it mindfully with respect for our body. It's just gorgeous. Such a nice stretch and release. Now adjust it a little bit because the hips are kind of more squared, if that makes any sense. And we're hinging forward over the right leg for a forward fold. Sure, you can use your block. I'm not using one here. You're sitting on your buttocks, but can you send it back? Just breathing and enjoying this. And now we have the other leg in our pigeon, our half pigeon. You breathe. It's interesting. Sometimes we notice, oh, I'm holding the breath. We're learning, we're doing something new. And you can find a twist in your half pigeon. Reach one arm underneath, both hands on top if you want. Or in prayer pose, we can lever a little bit more, get a little bit more revolve. I also love this pose. I seem to love them all, which is kind of true. Just feels so nice to get that squeeze and the twist around the spine. Come back to seated. Now crossing one knee over the other, stacking one knee over the other in Garudasana legs. If that's available for you, hinging forward, and you'll get a stretch and release down the side of your hips and legs. You can pause there. I'm just mindful of the time, and then swap legs so it can feel really nice to pause for a while and get that release down the sides of the legs. It's nice to do hip closers as well as opening, to close the energy in. Rolling back down through the spine now. Hands on the knees and pick the feet off the floor for hip circles and then the other direction. Hug one knee in towards the chest, resist the stretch. And then sweep that knee across the body into a twist. So aiming to release any tension we built up here. Hug the right knee in towards the chest. Keep your buttocks on the floor. And then sweep that knee across the body. Lovely long low back. This should be like yoga medicine now. The cool down is the release of the tension. Take a full body stretch and lengthen. You can run the legs or do anything that feels good for you. Just think of releasing. Now, option one is just legs to the sky. You rock from side to side. You can come over to a wall or a chair, put them up. Or if you have a yoga block or a stack of books, you can do a variation of shoulder stand with a block. Tuck your shoulders under and press your shoulders down so your neck stays long, belly engaged. Just your heart is a little higher than the head. The legs are definitely higher, and that's a nice inversion. Blood flow in yoga. Blood towards the head, seen as important. How important do you think your brain is? Some days I'm not so sure with all the thinking, but I'll accept the blood flow there. Bring the feet to the floor, lift your block, and have a full body stretch again. You can slow any of these poses down, stop the video, etc. Shoulders away from the ears and coming into a Shavasana. Nice and symmetrical if possible. And it's like putting the cake in the oven. So it's really important now, in an ideal world, you'd pause a little bit longer, maybe even do a little bit of meditation after your Shavasana. But the bare minimum is 10 rounds of breath. You've done the work, so put the cake in the oven. Allow the tension to drain away. Notice the breath without trying to fix anything. Coming to Tadasana at the back of your mat, press down evenly through the four corners of your feet, like you're pressing down and connecting with the center of the earth. Then lift that energy up through your inner shins.